We have multiple Toronto Maple Leafs updates to go over today as Leafs hockey is finally returning. We have some huge details surrounding what the lineup is going to look like tomorrow, as well as discuss some major updates surrounding Max Pacioretty and more. But before we get into a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Leafs content. Thank you guys for your continued support as we are fast approaching 15,000 subscribers. We're about 200 subscribers away. And remember, we will be live following tomorrow night's game for the return of the post-game live streams. Darius, there's a lot to go over today, and we're going to dive into the updates in a second as well here. But Team Canada, they did get the win, and it was on the back of, Connor McDavid, of course, Jordan Binnington, but Mitch Marner came up clutch, and, of course, Austin Matthews from the USA side. So it is, hopefully they can take some of that experience and really start to use it in what's going to be a very crucial second half of the season.
Not only did Canada win, and I think we're all feeling good about this. Again, there might be American Leaf fans watching this, and sorry about that, but very good day today. But Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews were maybe the best players on the ice besides the goaltenders in last night's game, which is a great sign for Leafs fans. Austin Matthews had 2 assists on both the American goals. I actually called it in the video yesterday. I believe I said it would be best case scenario if Canada won 3-2 and Austin Matthews had both American goals. He didn't have the goals, but he did say, or he did get 2 assists. So it was a good game for both of them. Mitch Marner obviously coming in clutch. He had the assist on the game winner. So could be a good sign for this spring coming up. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, huge win. And as it pertains to the Leafs, hopefully they can take some of that energy like I just mentioned. And speaking of the Leafs, the Buds are back from David Alter, and it's good to see. It feels like it's been, it's been a while, about 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but it feels like it's been a little bit longer than that. We have been obviously fortunate enough to watch actual competitive hockey, but I'm just excited for the Leafs to get back because they need to make a push for the Atlantic Division. And again, they are back. And let's start. There's a bunch of updates today, actually. There was, wasn't shy of news and lines and all these different things. And let's start with the lines today because we're seeing some familiar faces. Of course, Matthews and Marner are out as of now. They're obviously back. We should be back for tomorrow's game. Knock on wood, Marner will be in. Matthews, he looked pretty fine out there yesterday, to be honest. He doesn't look like the injury's bothering him. But you see Matthew Nyes, Cal Yarncroc, and Alex Steve. So 2 players that we didn't see prior to the Four Nations face-off. This is going to be very interesting. Again, those 2 are the placeholders, which means they'll probably not play in tomorrow's game. Yarncroc, the fact that he's out there on these lines is a good sign anyway. I think he's going to return a lot sooner than we had initially thought. But we have Nyes, Yarncroc, Steve, McMahon, Tavares, Nylander, Domi, Holmberg, Robertson, Lorentz, Kemp, and Dewar. So pretty similar second, third, and fourth lines here. What are you looking out for when it comes to this? There's a lot more competitiveness in the lineups now. We also have an update on Yanni Hakanpää, which is a little bit surprising. But looking at the lines again, it's been a long time since we saw him. You have 2 guys now that are brand new to the Leafs, albeit, Alex Steve's played a few games earlier, but new to the Leafs this season when it comes to actually factoring into the lines.
Well, first thing that, is pointed out to me when I look at these lines is Steve's might not actually stick around. He could just be a placeholder for Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner at this point. And Matt Sundin had a great story in his book about how, like, 2 days after the Olympics, after partying, he played hungover for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I would imagine Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews would be back tomorrow night for that game. So it is looking like he's actually just a placeholder at this point. But like you mentioned, there's a lot of competitiveness through the lineup right now. What's going to happen with Max Pacioretty as well? We have an update on him. We'll get to that in a second too. But, what's going to happen with his role? He hasn't been playing good when he has been healthy the last little while, right? So when you look up and down the lineup, a lot of guys like McMahon didn't start the season well. Now he's on fire, right? So he's working his way up the lineup. Obviously, Nyes is doing his thing. So there's a lot more competitiveness. What's going to happen with Yanni Hakanpää as well and the defense core? A lot of guys, I think, coming back now after this kind of reset, I guess, having a couple weeks off, are going to be fighting for their spots because the Leafs are going to be making trades and they're going to be looking to, what do we need to trade and who do we want to hang on to, right? So I think it's going to be very interesting over the next week, 2 weeks, because the trade deadline's in 2 weeks at this point.
Yep, and there's going to be a lot of trade talks. So I think most people are happy to see hockey back. Yarncroc being out there, he looks pretty, again, they're ramping up. He said he was going to need multiple practices. It looks like all signs are pointing to him playing before the year ends for sure, but it's going to be interesting to see where he factors in with the trades. You mentioned, of course, Max Pacioretty. The blue lines are McDavid, Tanev, Riley, OEL, Benoit, Timmins. Let's not forget, because it almost took me back for a second, Stolarz is back healthy. So we have Stolarz and Wally obviously played 1 or 2 games before the Four Nations face-off, but the team is looking very healthy now, aside from Max Pacioretty. You see this here, after a couple false starts the last 2 days, Max Pacioretty appears ready to give it a go again at Leafs practice. And this is going to be very critical as well. As the Leafs look to make trades, you mentioned it 2 weeks away, they are I can't see Pontus Holmberg remaining on the team past the trade deadline. Nick Robertson's another guy, might not remain in the team past the trade deadline. To see Max Pacioretty back is very good where he factors in is going to be interesting because obviously we saw Pacioretty on the second line for a while this season. That line was looking good, but now you have Bobby McMann who's playing the best hockey of his career, especially at the NHL level, is wild. It's going to be interesting to see. I probably will figure that Max Pacioretty will kind of rest himself in on the third line once the trades are all said and done, but he's not factoring in the lineup tomorrow. It doesn't seem like. It'll probably give him some more rest.
Yeah, he also left practice right after this. So he actually didn't, he was on the ice before they practiced, giving it a go, and then he left practice. So he didn't participate in practice. So he's not going to play this weekend. So we'll have to keep tabs on that. But it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with some of these players. And like we brought up, Yanni Hakanpää as well. And Yarncroke, I think, is the most interesting monkey wrench thrown into this out of anyone, right? Like you just brought up too, like him and his salary, what's that going to look like? What are they doing at the deadline? Is it Nick Robertson that's going the other way? It doesn't, you're not giving up a lot of salary in that way. You're going to have to move more pieces. So it's interesting in that way. And even David Camp, we haven't mentioned him in this video, but we've heard that he could be a cap casualty. He has like a modified no trade clause too. So, which is crazy, by the way, for a fourth liner. But, yeah, that's going to be something to look out for too. So, how does Max Pacioretty fit in here? Because he was playing on the second line, like you mentioned, for a long time this season. He hasn't been great as of late. And Bobby McMann, in terms of advanced analytics, is playing at a $5 million pace right now. He makes $1.3 million. So, or 1.4, somewhere in between there. So, pretty good value. And it's going to be, I don't know, a lot of guys are going to be fighting for spots now out of this break.
Yeah, Bobby McMann is obviously going to remain in the Leafs for the rest of the season. There's no question about it. Regarding Yanni Hakanpää here a little bit, not Jake Evans, Yanni Hakanpää. You can see here he's taking part in practice like he has the last couple of days. Ryan Reeves, or he's not taking part in practice, sorry, and Ryan Reeves is helping out as the extra defenseman. So he didn't play in the Four Nations faceoff. The storyline continues to get, crazier and crazier, I guess, as it pertains to Yanni Hakanpää. It seems that he is going to, maybe he'll get into a game, maybe he won't, a bit of a disastrous contract. And as you look at the power play units, you can see a bunch of different things here. Anything that interests you from the power play, how they come out, it's going to be one of the biggest talking points and key to their success as they push to surpass the Flyers in the Atlantic Division is how good their power play can be because it's been very mediocre this season.
I think with the Leafs power play, honestly, at this point, coming, not watching them for 2 weeks and thinking about it, whatever's working at that moment, right? Like we've seen them experiment with Riley up there. OEL's been up there at times if they run the defenseman. There's been times where it works with Mitch Marner on the point and you're doing 5 forwards, right? So whatever they end up doing, if it's not working, what I want to see this second half, it's not even a second half. There's only like, handful of games left, I guess, at this point. But what I want to see the second
handful,
half of,
yeah,
it's a big handful. Yeah, I guess not a handful, but in terms of the rest of the games and down the stretch here, if it's not working, switch to something else. Don't continue to do it for the next 3 power plays, 4 power plays, stretching over a couple games, right? Change it up. That's what I want to see because they've experimented with everything at this point. Whatever is working, and if it's not, change it immediately. Do not continue with that.
They need to actually play good hockey, which is something hopefully they can do. Trade talks are going to be starting to pick up as well. We see William Nylander back on the ice, and like we've been discussing trades with Jake Evans and all these different players, we're going to keep you up to date with all the latest news because trades are really going to be a big talking point as the deadline approaches. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.